Hello, Catamounts. My name is Alexander Hoffman, and this is Chats with Cats presented by WeTV. In this series, we've been interviewing some of our amazing student athletes here at Western Carolina University. Today's guest is Fischer Brown of the men's basketball team. How are you, Fischer?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing well. So we'll go ahead and get started with this. Welcome back, of course. For those who don't know you, go ahead and please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your place on the team.
My name is Fischer Brown. I am a finance major here at Western Carolina, and I play the 2 and 3 position for the men's basketball team.
Nice. So now that we have moved forward a little bit since when we had your first interview before last season even started, if you don't mind, could you share a memorable moment from your time so far here at Western?
I've had a couple good ones. I would say last year as a freshman, just that first time being able to touch the court at home and away was a pretty special moment, because it's kind of a dream being a basketball player to be able to play at a Division I level and in college, and finally seeing that come true was pretty awesome. And then recently, just playing Cameron Indoor was an unreal experience. I mean, that place is something else. It's so loud and so much different than all other basketball arenas that I played in.
Yeah, I've got to say that in particular, going to Duke is definitely got to be an interesting time coming into your second season. And you mentioned that you are a finance major. What brought you to that major?
I would say I've always been pretty good with numbers naturally. And also I just really enjoyed the financial world since my dad kind of introduced me to it in about 4th grade. It's always been interesting to me and something that I've wanted to explore. And that kind of interest and love has just kept going all the way through to college.
Yeah, I remember last time you were on, I believe you were sport management at that point. I was kind of interested in that transition, but it also makes sense within the College of Business still, kind of sticking around there. And a topic that's been brought up more and more recently that we didn't actually talk about last time you were on the show, we started talking about it last season, is mental health and how important that is for student athletes. So I would like to hear your thoughts on mental health and its importance as a student athlete.
Mental health is huge for student athletes. I really think that being aware of it is the first step, and knowing that you're going to have highs and lows. That's just the way it goes. That could be on the court, off the court, but just being aware of it and then finding ways that work for you to help, whether that's, spending time socially with people or taking a break from that and kind of, doing things like meditation. That's a big thing a lot of athletes do. And just, I would say just being aware of it and then taking steps to help mental health.
Yeah, and I think it's been nice to see as that's grown more as a topic in college athletics over the last few years, especially with how hectic things are with the transfer portal and NIL and all of this other stuff. So it is good to see more attention to that. We are going to kind of transition into another set of questions for the interview, kind of like growth from last year. So we are now in Coach Tim Kraft's second season with the team as well as yours. What kind of culture have you seen growing from last year?
Our culture is just growing more as like trying to get connected and really bringing like a day in, day out mentality, I guess you could say. Trying to be we mentioned an everyday player, which means you show up and you give 100% every day. You don't, I don't really feel like doing this today. I don't feel like showing up today. Still coming in and giving everything, whether that's a Thursday after a game or a Monday after a Sunday off where your body feels good, just being an everyday guy. And I would say that that's been a big growth from Coach Kraft that he's also helped me with.
Yeah, I remember whenever we had him on the show, him mentioning, and I think it goes along with what you were saying, the relentless grit is one of the foremost things that he focuses on. And that kind of also adds into another thing that he focuses on, which is the family feel. We briefly discussed that last year with you coming onto the team. How has that looked now in your second year as you're welcoming the new players in?
Well, I had a great experience with the whole family feel last year, just trying to, mostly from the coaching staff because we didn't really have any returners last year. But this year we're really trying to give the new guys that family feel and that kind of welcoming, opening arms that just says like, hey, we're here if you need anything, because it's not easy. It's not what you expect as a freshman, and just having somebody that's there that can help you is awesome. And I think that we try to bring that the best we can with our family feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's another thing that kind of plays into the, with our school being the little mountain school, having that family feel is super important. And you mentioned having not very many returners, or only really a couple of returners last year, with a solid number this year from last year's team. Would you say that you have stepped into some level of like mentoring role to the new players coming in, since you were just in their shoes last year?
I would say so. Our whole returning group this year is really trying to help the younger group, and that's really nice to have for both of us, because we get to kind of get closer together as returners, and we also get to give some of that energy back to the new guys. And a lot of times we do it where, if you're a position group, if your guy is younger than you, you can help them out a lot with just ways we do things on the team. Again, that's on the court, off the court, and you can really kind of mentor through that, because it's almost like that solo mentorship program, but you really can get a lot done by doing that.
Yeah, it is really cool getting to see our team kind of grow, especially because, again, last year was rebuilding as we got a new coach and almost entirely new team. So it's been good to see that family feel develop, both for the new players and our returners as well. And last question for this little segment, how has being a student athlete shaped your college experience so far?
I mean, I don't really know what it's like not to be a student athlete, but I would say that it's shaped my college experience in a number of ways. From just, it's kind of similar to a job, being an athlete. You've got times that you got to go in and do certain work and stuff, and then you kind of clock out again. But I think it's really given me a good perspective on the college life of, I'm doing this and I'm lucky enough to be doing this, and that helps both financially and just with memories. You get to do this for 4 years, and then you get to take all that away into, your personal life after that. I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique experience for student athletes to get to do and make all the memories that you guys get to. And that is going to take us to our lightning round. Similar thing as last year, just 4 short little questions with some short little answers from you. But they are new questions mostly than last year. If you had to choose one song or artist as your hype music before the game, who would that artist be, or what would that song be?
I would say artist-wise, it's probably J. Cole or Future. I don't really like, I'm a little different. I don't like the really hyped up songs. I like a little bit more mellow, kind of get my head into everything before the game.
We've had a guest say Mumford & Sons, so I mean, that's, get the having more mellow. What is the most fun away game environment you've been to as part of the Catamount men's basketball team?
I feel like it's obviously got to be Duke, but I mean, it was just such an incredible environment. And I think that having a small gym like Cameron and then bringing in all those crazy fans like that, it just made it electric. It was so loud in there. And even when, the score kind of gets out of hand, or usually there's kind of lulls in the game, and there just wasn't one there. And it was just an incredible experience.
Absolutely. And this question, our general manager and studio manager is super excited for. What is your favorite sports team outside of Western?
I would say the Washington Commanders. That's my football team. That's my football team. And I mean, I've been sticking with them since RG3 era, and it's great to see some success. Last year was a great starting point, and I think building on that, we got to get guys healthy, and then really sky's the limit. I'm optimistic for the first time in about 15 years, 10 years. So
yeah, for those that couldn't hear that are watching, our director just started screaming in excitement over that. Big Commanders fan, been a rough season for him. And last question for the lightning round. If you could only eat from one restaurant from the rest of your life, where would it be?
I feel like it'd have to be a steakhouse of some kind. I'm just being raised in Montana. I feel like that's just my go-to, and not a lot of what's the word? Different types of food in that, but I still think that would be my choice. Rib and Chop House. I don't think we have one here, but yeah, it's definitely a Montana favorite.
There you go. And last question to kind of wrap up the interview, is there anything you would like to say to Catamount Nation as we head into the rest of the season?
We'd love to have your support. I think that, just showing up to games means a lot to us, and having a crowd like that and a fun environment just makes it even more fun to play with. And, we'll try to do our best for you guys, and we appreciate your support.
Absolutely. Thank you for those words. For the Catamounts watching this, that is it for this interview. Thank you, Fischer, for coming on the show a second time.
Thank you.
Of course. We'll see you next time, and go Cats.